So for those of you going down to Santa Clara this Sunday afternoon for a football game, are you ready? Are you ready for an early Halloween Havoc, ladies and gentlemen? And for that Halloween Havoc that is to come this Sunday afternoon, I hope it doesn't come at the expense of the red and gold host team that has been struggling pretty bad these last 2 weeks. And that red and gold team I'm talking about, of course, is none other than my San Francisco 49ers. So for the 49ers, man, like I said, it's been rough sledding these past 2 weeks since starting out 5-0 in this 2023 season. Yeah, 5-0 feels like a distant memory even in 2 weeks. But yeah, this season can change on you in like pretty much in a flash, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, they started out 5-0. Now they're 5-2 as they now prepare for this Week 8 matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are coming off their bye week. And man, it's all I can say is that from here on out, things are gonna get pretty tough, ladies and gentlemen. It's all gonna get tough from here on out. But looking at the last week in terms of both these teams, I mean, obviously for the Bengals, they were on their bye week, trying to prepare, whether it was on vacation or maybe they were scouting the 49ers for this upcoming matchup. But nonetheless, the last time they played in football, they beat the Seattle Seahawks back in Week 6, despite Joe Burrow and the offense struggling to finish drives, struggling to score points. But the story of their win over Seattle, yes, they won that game, was their red zone defense. They managed to keep Geno Smith and the Seahawks offense out of the end zone every chance they got, which is kind of funny. Like, Geno Smith and the Seahawks were pretty aggressive in that game. Like, they didn't want to take any field goal points when on the other side you had Joe Burrow and the offense. They couldn't capitalize on the Seahawks like mistakes in the red zone. So kind of interesting there. But nonetheless, the Bengals are coming in 3-3 after having a very sluggish start to the season. They've won, I think, like 3 straight now. But nonetheless, it's been a tipsy-turvy start. And now here they are trying to turn their season around, trying to get back in contention for the AFC North. And yeah, let's see where it goes from here. Meanwhile, for my 49ers, it's pretty much kind of been the opposite for the last 2 weeks. You lose your first game in Cleveland. Brock Purdy has probably his worst start of his career, and he just gets overwhelmed by the defense. He had a couple of key injuries, and now you go into this Monday night game in Week 7 against the Minnesota Vikings. And while Brock Purdy had a bounce-back performance, I mean, not necessarily the greatest one, but still a very solid one, turning the offense into a kind of like a chicken shit in chicken salad kind of situation, Brock Purdy couldn't finish when it mattered most. He couldn't, what does Cody Rhodes always say? I mean, it's kind of corny, but finish the story, per se, for that game. Because, well, even though he kind of had a solid, productive day, he threw 2 key interceptions in the fourth quarter to defensive back Karen Bynum of the Vikings, including the game-sealing one where the 49ers, they were actually pushing down the field to make a potential game-winning drive, but unfortunately, that interception sealed it. And the 49ers suffered their second straight loss of the season, falling to Minnesota 22-17. Now here they are, like I said, 5-2, and they're potentially in danger of falling to 5-3 if they don't get their shit together. But I kind of don't want to place all the blame on Brock Purdy because there was a lot of reason why Brock Purdy didn't do well in that fourth quarter, which we'll get into in a bit. The main story of why the 49ers lost that game was that top-ranked defense, that top-tier defense that has been so renowned by so many in the sports media. And that had to do with a very terrible night from Steve Wilks' defense. Yeah, Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Steve Wilks' defense failed to register a sack. They failed to pressure like Kirk Cousins at all. And Kirk Cousins he made him pay for it. Like Kirk Cousins, who's usually terrible on Monday nights. Yes, as terrible as the Judgment Day on Raw, as terrible as Becky Lynch on Raw. I mean, this is not a personal attack on them, but Kirk Cousins attacked the 49ers secondary like it was nothing. Like it was nothing, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, there are also terrible play calls, including that zero blitz before the end of the first half. Like, what the hell was that? And yeah, Kirk Cousins torched them for over 300 yards. Like, damn, dude. Like, what are they preparing for? Yeah, like, I didn't get it. But yeah, they had to come up with a better game plan for the Cincinnati Bengals because you had a Bengals team coming off the bye week, and even though they didn't have Justin Jefferson, they were lucky they didn't have Justin Jefferson playing in this game. Now you have an even bigger problem. You have a better quarterback in Joe Burrow, who you don't know if he's 100% or not, but now you have more receivers you got to deal with. Jamar Chase, you have Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Yeah, you've had more problems to deal with at the receiver position if you're the 49ers defense. Yeah, you got to get your shit together, Steve Wilkes. You got to get the shit together because your head coach, Kyle Shanahan, your general manager, John Lynch, threw you under the bus, and rightfully so. Rightfully so in their pressers this week. So hopefully that gives you a wake-up call. So I don't know, man. I'm not trying to sound down on the 49ers right now, but it is what it is. It's like, it's being honest. It's being honest, ladies and gentlemen. So looking at the injury report for this week for both of these teams, the Bengals are coming in relatively healthy. And they're getting one key piece back on their offense, and that is left tackle Orlando Brown Jr., who left Cincinnati's home game against Seattle a couple weeks ago with a groin injury, and they honestly didn't expect him to be ready for this game against San Francisco. So that's a big plus for them. And if they feel like he's good to go, I mean, he did practice fully on Friday, so he probably is going to be playing in this game on Sunday. The only injury concern that they have is reserve linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither. He's going to be out for this game with the knee injury, but otherwise, the Bengals are going to be pretty much healthy and ready to go for this game on Sunday. Meanwhile, for the 49ers, obviously, going back to Brock Purdy, the big news that came out on early Wednesday afternoon was that Brock Purdy was in the concussion protocol. So that was a contributing factor as to why he didn't do so well in the fourth quarter. There were like different videos showcasing that Brock Purdy suffered the concussion on the quarterback sneak or his head hitting the turf. Someone correct me on that in the comments below if you could find it. But either way, Brock Purdy suffered a concussion at some point in the fourth quarter. And, my initial reaction was like, oh, shit. Oh, great. Maybe, okay. You don't know where this is going, especially on a short week. Obviously, not good news, as there is very little time to get cleared. And my initial thought was, it's Sam Darnold season, boy. It is Sam Darnold season. Let's light the darn arn. Let's light them ghosts. Darnold's going ghost like Danny Phantom. So, anyway, it seems like we overreacted, though. It seems like we overreacted because Brock Purdy was seen practicing on Thursday and fully practicing on Friday. But, however, he still has to pass the last test of the concussion protocol on Saturday at the time of recording this in order to play on Sunday. I'm just hope that they're not rushing Brock too quickly to play in this game because look what happened last year with Tua. But either way, it seems like it's a mild concussion, but we'll see. It's just as long as they know what they're doing. Another injury news for the 49ers, Trent Williams, their left tackle, after missing last week's game against Minnesota, he seems like he's going to be a decision to play with this low ankle sprain. So we'll see if he's going to be suiting up for the 49ers. So obviously the 49ers got to win this game. They got to find a way to avoid a third straight loss heading into their bye week because, like I said, things are only going to get tougher from here on out. Especially if you suffer a third straight loss and then Seattle wins their game against the Cleveland Browns, all of a sudden, the 49ers are going to be looking up at the Seahawks, and the pressure is only going to mount from there. Seattle is literally on the 49ers' ass after San Francisco has lost 2 straight, and then Seattle, sure, they had their own issues, but nonetheless, you don't want Seattle all of a sudden up in first place on the division at the midway point, at the halfway point in the season. You still have to face them twice, and both times in 3 weeks later on. But nonetheless, it's only going to get tougher from here on out. Aside from the Seahawks, you have the Eagles. You still have the all-elite Jaguars coming off the bye. And then you have the Ravens. Ugh. Just oof, ladies and gentlemen. So meanwhile for the Bengals, obviously, like I said, you have Joe Burrow in the offense trying to return the form. They mainly struggled because, Joe Burrow's calf injury basically hampering his ability to get out of the pocket, basically hampering his ability to throw. Like he can't throw off his back foot. But while the offense was still kind of lacking, Burrow looked better in terms of his mobility a couple weeks ago in Arizona, and then obviously in the game against Seattle. So probably by this point, I'm not no doctor, but the bye week should have helped some in terms of healing up that calf. So we'll see how Joe Burrow looks in action on Sunday. So in terms of my keys to victory for both of these teams, for Cincinnati, you got to neutralize the 49ers defensive line. And if the Cincy offensive line holds that 49ers defensive front, they're going to reap the rewards, especially if you give Joe Burrow time to throw to his receivers. Oh boy, those rewards will come in greatly, especially if Steve Wilks' defensive schemes continue to struggle. And then defensively, you got to shut down the running game. The 49ers running game has really struggled these last 2 weeks. And like what we saw Monday night, if the 49ers running game continues to struggle, they'll force Kyle Shanahan to make whoever's going to be the starting quarterback to throw a lot more. And then for my 49ers, just stop running the well dry with Christian McCaffrey, man. It's like, I don't know why Kyle Shanahan continues to do this with whoever his running back is. He's once again being greedy as hell with what he has, clearly showing no trust in the people behind that bell cow that's behind him. In this case, it's Christian McCaffrey. It's like he's beating him down, and then people are just finally realizing that, just take down Christian McCaffrey. And then that's exactly what Minnesota did. That's exactly what Cleveland did. And it's like he clearly shows no trust in Jordan Mason or Tyron Davis-Price. The running game hasn't worked in the last 2 weeks. And it's not because Christian McCaffrey can't run up the middle. He can clearly run on the sides, but it's the fact that Kyle Shanahan keeps doing it over and over again, expecting a different result. So it's like, you have to stop running the well dry with Christian McCaffrey. Like, you use a different variation. I get it. Christian McCaffrey is basically your bell cow of the 49ers offense. One of them at least. But you can't keep overdoing it. You cannot keep overdoing it. I mean, I'll say it in terms of this week, Cincinnati's run defense is very weak, but don't go overboard, man. Just do not go overboard. Eventually, at some point, it's going to backfire on you. I mean, I hate to say it. And then defensively, it's simple. Better game planning, better execution on defense. Sure, I can rag on Steve Wilks a whole other mile, but everyone else has to do their part too. Everyone else has to do their part too. I mean, Fred Warner, obviously, he's been basically the glue that's been trying to keep everything together, but I haven't seen Nick Bosa do a whole lot of anything in this defensive front. Javon Hargrave, he's trying to do what he can in the interior defensive line, but it's all about execution in terms of whatever Steve Wilks has schemed up for them. But for Steve Wilks, he also has to create better plays and also time them better. No more zero blitz before the end of the first half, please, because you've already been thrown under the bus once by both your GM and your head coach. And so now probably this time against Cincinnati, hopefully it sparks your ass up to call a better game. So yeah, for my 49ers this week, this is a must win. Yes, a must. When I say must win this early on, yes, halfway is early on, because if you lose this game, you're going to be looking up at Seattle trying to play catch up in this NFC West race. I know it's still like a little less than halfway into the season, but you don't want to be going to your bye week, losing 3 straight, and then trying to find solutions to your problems. Like, you want to be at least going into your bye week 6-2, and then trying to, like, I don't know, at least trying to find those answers to your problems. You don't want to be going to your bye week 5-3 and be like all pouty and shit. So take care of business against Cincinnati and better execution, please. So anyway, yeah, what do you guys think about this upcoming game for the 49ers against the Cincinnati Bengals? Like, they really need to win this one. They cannot be going to their bye week 5-3, getting their butts whooped. So yeah, they definitely need a wake up call. And I'd like to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below on how the 49ers would do against Cincinnati. They got to win. That's all I need to say. They have to win this game. So anyway, this is DylanLasagna signing out, and keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.